I don't have a plan here, and I don't really know where I'm going. Good morning, everybody, from Baker, California, and the Alien Jerky store. It's really early in the morning, so nothing is open yet, including the coffee shop in this town. But I mean, you can't not stop when you see a giant Alien Jerky store. We can't get any Alien Jerky because they're closed. This is a very small town, but there are a couple of notable things here. Looking that way, that's all there is, and there's not a whole lot down that way either. It's basically a glorified truck stop, and I like it. This small town has come up with an interesting and entertaining way to bring tourists in, including a cool interplanetary galactic federation vehicle and an alien piloted spaceship. And whatever this giant flying saucer thing in the back here is, and I'm assuming it's some sort of amusement park ride, time travel station. You can get alien pretzels. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to do a little looking. There is one open restaurant, which is a drive-through Mexican restaurant. Maybe they have coffee. There's a lot of rundown and very graffitied stuff here. And I present to you the world's tallest thermometer. It's pretty big. You can see it from a long ways off. And fortunately, today the temperature is nice and cool. I would not want to be here when that thing is lit up all the way to the top. And you gotta love this Mad Greek Cafe. They've gone all in on their theme. The old Royal Hawaiian Hotel sign caught my eye, but it looks like there's nothing really left of the Royal Hawaiian Hotel. The old country store is open. Let's go see if they have some coffee. They have an assortment of old-fashioned candies and an impressive assortment of soda pop, but other than that, it's just a standard convenience store. You can buy alien jerky there, though. I'm beginning to think that the coffee shop may not open at all. It may be closed. Let's find out what they have at Castaneda's Mexican food restaurant for breakfast. What I'm figuring out is that this is a chain restaurant of some variety, and I'm gonna go see what I can get. I found the local town park and a picnic table. And this is a gigantic breakfast burrito. I'm gonna go grab a knife out of the Jeep. I can't eat this all. This is breakfast and lunch. Oh man, that looks amazing. They had a great little salsa bar in there, and I got some guacamole salsa and some quemada, which I don't really know what it is, but it's probably ground peppers of some kind. I suspect hot. But first we try salsa. Tuck would really like some breakfast burrito. This is the ranchera burrito. That's great. This is a Mexican takeout fast food restaurant, and apparently it's a chain in California. There's about 40 restaurants. I talked to the fellow in there that was serving breakfast for a little bit, and he said it's one owner that owns these like 40 restaurants, and he had good things to say about the owner, which is very unusual in a chain restaurant. And he said that the owner, takes care of them and comes by like every week and makes sure everything's okay. So if you own this chain of restaurants, give that kid a raise. These are good salsas. This is a great breakfast burrito. Not even kidding. from a chain Mexican fast food restaurant. Tuck likes it too. And if you're new to the channel and have made it this far in the video and have no idea who I am or what's going on here, I'm Katie, that's Tuck, and we're on a pretty massive road trip in my Jeep, and we're currently headed south toward Mexico. All right, you guys might be wondering where the heck we are. This is Southern California, and we are sitting right here in Baker, California, right next to the Mojave National Preserve. We're going to take some roads south in the Mojave National Preserve and probably down through the Mojave Trails National Monument and probably through Joshua Tree National Park. I don't know how far we're going to get today. We're just headed south and finding a place to camp because it looks like there'll be plenty of places to camp in the areas we're going. The Mojave National Preserve covers almost 1.8 million acres of desert, and it's the largest national preserve in the lower 48. And it's got a lot of dirt roads. But I gotta tell you, I'm a little over dirt roads at the moment, and am pretty much planning to stick mostly to pavement. We are in the land of cinder cones and giant Joshua trees. And besides being a little cool outside, it is also pretty breezy. We are also apparently still in the land of the desert tortoise, although I think our chances of seeing one are slim to none. This is the Kelso depot, which is a train depot, and it looks like the line is still active. Apparently the line, at least originally, went from Salt Lake City to somewhere in California, near the coast. And I'm not tall enough to see in these doors. All I can tell from down here is that it looks like a room. And they had to build a depot here because in order to get over the mountains, you needed to add an extra train engine. And so they would add the train engine here, get over the mountains, and then the train engine would come back here. And that looks like an office. Could that have been a telegraph office? I bet that's what that was. This depot was built in the early 1900s, and it's pretty nice for something out here in the middle of the desert. And apparently that was on purpose, that the railroad magnate who built this wanted it to kind of stand out. And it does. It certainly stands out. Ooh, they have like a cool lunch counter in there. They don't need extra engines now to get over the mountains because they use diesel engines, which can get over the mountains without an extra engine. And it looks like there's a natural history display. And look at that cool old door up there with the little transom on top. It looks pretty cool in there. I wish it were open. The heyday or boom times of this place was actually during World War II, because there's a nearby mine called the Vulcan Mine, where a ton of iron was produced that was used in building U.S. ships during World War II. A small town sprung up around the depot, and they had a post office and a jail. You going into jail? You don't want to check out the jail? You want nothing to do with the jail? And some houses, but most of that is gone. And here's what it kind of would have looked like. All these portable houses lining the tracks, and in these big trees is the depot. And here's the foundation and a fireplace of an old house. This one obviously wouldn't have been portable. Cool old fireplace. We're stopping for a minute because there's a Joshua tree in bloom. I've actually seen a number of them blooming, but this is one I saw that was reasonably close to the road. Oh, that's not a Joshua tree. Oh, but it's beautiful. It's like a agave or aloe or something, or yucca. But look at how gorgeous that is. Such beautiful flowers. It was kind of far away from the road. I couldn't tell it wasn't a Joshua tree. I just saw that it was blooming. Well, I'm on gravel again, but it's worth it. This is like a crazy, thick, dense Joshua tree forest with really cool mountains in the distance. We're apparently going up a little pass over here. And just like 50 yards down the road, some of these Joshua trees are in bloom. That's a really interesting kind of flower. And there's multiple blooms on this tree. They're really spiky, so I can't get close up to smell them to see what they smell like. You put your face in there and you get poked. If I look around, I see a ton of blooms. This seems to be a pretty good gravel road. I mean, it does have some washboards, but they aren't punishing washboards. So it's not bad. I'm kind of surprising myself with how much I really like this preserve. Now it probably helps that it's nice and overcast and it's winter, so things are green and blooming. I'm not going off on the side roads, I'm just sticking to the main roads, and I figured it wouldn't be all that on the main roads. And I am pleasantly surprised by how nice this is. You're not thrilled with the gravel road, but it's not a really bad one. I don't have a plan here, and I don't really know where I'm going. I'm just sort of exploring in a kind of southerly direction. We are checking out the hole-in-the-wall visitor center, and it looks like this one's open. And the backdrop for it are just these incredible volcanic bluffs. I have obtained my sticker and patch. Those are very important. And I also got a map, so I can figure out where I am and where to go. Here's the whole of the Mojave National Preserve, and we started out way over here at Baker and have ended up right here at the Hole in the Wall Information Center. And I think what we're going to do is continue driving down this road, which is now paved, and then come over this way toward the Vulcan mine. That means we'll be getting on dirt for a bit, but we can find a camp spot back there. I know I've said it multiple times in multiple videos, but I still cannot get over just how green this desert is. Not to mention all the flowers that are blooming. I mean, there's actual green grass like a fair amount of it happening right now. I just don't see the desert in these kind of conditions very often, and it's making me very happy. What I'm looking for is a camp spot. Hopefully not in a dry wash, because it looks like there's probably going to be some precipitation happening. I'm very much hoping that it doesn't rain. And I think this will work just fine for a campsite. We're overlooking the beautiful Providence Mountains. There's also a power line and a gas line, but it's still very pretty. There is some type of flower around here that smells kind of like a magnolia, and it's scenting the air, but I don't know which one it is. Oh, those smell amazing. And just look at all of this actual grass in the desert. It's actual real grass. It just makes me so happy that I timed this portion of the trip with blooming flowers and grass in the desert. And guys, I think I'm gonna get the Jeep set up, and I'm gonna have the rest of my breakfast burrito for dinner, and I will see you guys in the morning. According to Google Maps, which may or may not be correct, because the nearest grocery store is 100 miles away. Looking at the map, there's really just not much civilization in this area, so I do actually believe that. But I don't want to drive 100 miles on the highway, so we're gonna take a little detour to do our detour and drive a slower, less trafficked road part of the way to Barstow. Well, this puts a little kibosh on my plans. That was the road I was planning to take to not have to drive on the highway. And it looks like we can still jump on it, just not as far up it as I would like to. My plan was to drive Route 66 instead of the highway. But we're merging on the highway, and we will get on to Route 66 some miles down the road here, but we gotta drive on the highway for a bit. We made it off the freeway, and we're driving toward Route 66. Route 66 parallels the freeway, and we've gotta drive down whatever road this is, Kelbacher, something like that road, to get to Route 66. And the views on this road are just beautiful. All right, we have reached historic Route 66, or at least the part that we can drive. That direction is Needles, California, and we can't go that way. And we have a beautiful valley that we're going to be driving through. And that way is Barstow. It would seem that I'm not the only person who had the idea of driving Route 66. There's a lot of cars on this road. It's still better than driving on the interstate. Okay, I pretty much immediately had to stop because there's these foo dogs in the middle of nowhere. They're really big foo dogs. This, I think, is the female foo dog, because there's a little baby foo dog with sunglasses. I mean, these are really nice, or they were at one time. And the other one, we'll drive down to it. There's another one way down there. I just popped up my Starlink because I need to know why there's two foo dogs just sitting here out in the desert. There seems to be a little bit of a road down to the other foo dog. And we're taking this while we're waiting for Starlink to boot up. It's pretty neat. A ton of the creosote are blooming around here. And we've come down to the second foo dog. This is a male foo dog. and the internet was not very helpful. These foo dogs just appeared here in the desert in around 2014, and nobody knows who put them here. It's all very mysterious. And people have been leaving offerings and such, and somebody put a lock on there and a lock on there. I mean, these are real marble statues. They're getting vandalized a bit, but they're really gorgeous, or were. Our two guardians of the desert are just one of the many mysteries out here. And just down the road from the foo dogs is Roy's Motel and Cafe. Doesn't look like the motel is operational anymore. I don't know what this cool old car is. It's been rotting in the desert for a while. And the motel consists of these little buildings, presumably which were the old hotel rooms. I mean, I bet this was a decent place to stay back in the day. You had a very little shower and an art project. I'm guessing these are going to be basically all the same. Yeah. How neat would it be to see these restored? And there's the main building of the hotel, which is wicked cool. That's like the best 60s style ever. You can't go in there, but we can take a look. That's so cool. This place had some style. And then next door is the cafe, where I'm pretty sure I might be able to get some kind of food, and I'm hungry. Although, I don't know. Let's find out. There's no food in the cafe. It's basically just a convenience store. So, I got a snack. I think it's gonna be a while before I can get some real food. But there's a ton of people coming by. If somebody sat a food truck out here, they could make a killing. We're heading across the street, and there was a bump, and we're gonna check out what's over here. And right next to this cool old car is a shoe tree, or a shoe log, a shoe telephone pole. Maybe that's a cut-off telephone pole. I bet that's what that is. Just one of the many, many places in the western United States where you can check your shoes. There is also the beginnings of a little lock fence. I mean, there doesn't seem to be any purpose to actually having a fence here, except to have something for people to put locks on. This used to be a town way back when, and it was actually established in the late 1800s. And they have a church, St. Raymond's Church, and an abandoned building. That looks like an actual house with a detached garage. And you can go in there, so we're going in there. And I'm guessing these houses were built around the same time that the hotel was. Cinder block houses. We going in this way? Go on in. Huh. Still got a little furniture in here. And this would be a cool little kitchen. Washer and dryer hookups. This way, buddy. And this must be a bedroom. This way. This way. And another bedroom. You think that's exciting? Ah. And the bathroom. There's obviously been some work done in these buildings to clean them out, but I don't know what any plans are for them. Places like this just make me think of all the possibilities. You'd have to put so much money into it, but man, how cool would it be if this were fully restored? That big dark hill out there is the Amboy Crater, which is a big, really distinctive cinder cone. It's a little breezy out here, and we are just down the road from Amboy. And this is the town of Bagdad. It is a ghost town. And all that's actually left is a tree. This tree is all that is left of a town. This tree is the last fragile remnant of the town of Bagdad. There is a cemetery somewhere around here though too, so I'm gonna try to find it. Okay, I've got it up on Google Maps, and I can't really tell from the satellite view if it is really a little cemetery. And we're gonna have to go across the train tracks, so we're gonna park on this side of the train tracks because there's no legitimate railroad crossing here, and walk to the other side. I don't see or hear any trains coming. Oh, this is like a multiple track. How many tracks are here? 4 tracks? 1, 2, 3. It's me. 4. Yeah. There are 4 railroad tracks and a big pile of old railroad ties. And I think I see what might be the cemetery up here. We have found the cemetery, and it's very small. Maybe a couple dozen people buried here. I don't know if there's going to be any names on any of these graves. But somebody's somewhat recently left some flowers. So far I don't see any names, but I imagine they've probably got records of who's buried here. There was an actual town here. But what a beautiful place. Beautiful but windy. It is really windy out today. And there's a train coming, so we're probably gonna hang out here for a minute. The train has gone by, but I gotta watch out for other ones because this seems like a busy track. We're all clear, but going fast because it's a busy track. No trains. No trains. You may go in there. Here, over here. Duck, duck. Good boy. You can see a really long way in both directions, but it still makes me a little nervous crossing that many tracks. 4 sets of tracks is a long distance, and I don't know, a train could come up from nowhere. Or be going excessively fast or something and you didn't see it. So yeah, it makes me a little nervous crossing them, but I'm glad I went to go see that cemetery. I do wish it were a little less windy today. The wind is whipping. This portion of Route 66 after Amboy is pretty much deserted. There's a car here or there, but that's because there's a turnoff to Joshua Tree National Park right at Amboy. So most of those cars we were seeing would be ending up in Joshua Tree and not headed to Barstow. There are a number of other former town sites along Route 66, but at least in this portion of Route 66, they're just gone. They're marked on the map, but there's nothing there. Not even a single tree like little Bagdad or a cemetery. But there are some more down the road once we get back onto the interstate. These are the remains of Ludlow, California. And I'm guessing this was a gas station, and it would have been pretty cool. I don't know what all these boxes are for. Maybe they're actually cleaning it up. I mean, these boxes have been here a long time. They're full of rocks and stuff. Don't know what that's about. But yeah, this must have been a gas station. Much graffitied now. It seems like the structure is actually sound. I mean, it's probably all kinds of contaminated, but it's neat. We're not going to explore too much around here just because it's getting later and I'm hungry. Here's another abandoned Route 66 building. It is so windy. And there's a mattress. There's always a mattress, man. I guess that's a box spring. And there's a greenhouse across the street that is really falling down. And miscellaneous buildings around. We'll go drive by some, but I'm not really going in because I don't really want to get out of the car. It's so windy. That's like Laramie, Wyoming windy out there. And in case you're unfamiliar, Laramie, Wyoming is crazy windy. And here's the kind of weird looking house across the street. It's got a very strange texture on the exterior walls. I wonder if it used to have something covering that up. There's some old wood buildings on the other side of the railroad tracks, and I mean, that's definitely an interesting building. I don't know what any of these buildings were used for, except for the one that was pretty obviously a gas station. I would love to get some food at the Ludlow Cafe because that looks awesome, but I can't leave Tuck in the car that long. It's a sit-down kind of place, not a grab a sandwich and go kind of place. All right, since I can't do a sit-down restaurant, we got fast food. Dairy Queen. I have never had actual Dairy Queen food. I've only had their ice cream products, and that's been a long time. More than a decade. Their fries are acceptable. They're only acceptable because they're really hot out of the fryer. So they're nice and crispy. Let's see how Dairy Queen does with a burger. Dairy Queen was my only real food choice here. And I'm hungry now. I mean, it's edible. We are back on the interstate, and it is quite unpleasant. And there are some pretty serious looking clouds ahead of us. So I am just pedal to the metal and get into a campsite near Barstow. I think this just counts as a place to chill out and sleep for the night. We are on a pretty random BLM road. Not terribly far from the highway, but far enough that Tuck isn't going to run out to the highway. And yeah, I think this is home for the night. And I don't know if you can see it, but amongst all those clouds, there is actually a little bit of a rainbow. We're about 30 minutes from Barstow, and I will head in there tomorrow and get groceries, and I need my oil changed. There you go. We're not so far back that I'm worried about getting stuck in the mud if it does get a little more rainy. So that's all good. And I think that's it for today, guys. And I want to thank all of you for coming along with me. It's amazing that you're coming along with me. And besides Barstow, I don't know where we're going next, so you'll just have to follow along and hit the subscribe button and hit the notification button, and you'll find out where we're going once I find out where we're going. I'll see you guys down the road.